YouTube, we are back today discussing the sales to active listings ratio. It's a half information piece here and a half complaining piece. If you've watched me for a while, you'll know that I have a couple of issues with the statistics that come out from the real estate board. Now, this is nothing against the board. They do a great job at taking all of the statistics and releasing them out there. It's just unfortunately what happens when you're working in markets that constantly change. The first gripe that I have is that these numbers are actually all past numbers. They're a collection of data from, say, the previous month that they tabulate and put together and release. Problem is, you take all of July's numbers and then you release it in August. You take all of August numbers and then you release it in September. The problem is you're looking at August numbers when we're now in September and the market has slightly changed. The other thing that I have an issue with is how they group things together, which I get it, you can't go extremely granular on everything, otherwise you'd be constantly analyzing and doing more and more and more and more. You have to have a line cut out. But we're gonna look at the sales to active listings ratio here. So those who don't know what that is, this is a metric in percentage form, which typically dictates whether we're in a balanced market, a buyer's market, or a seller's market. So 12% and below is typically a buyer's market, puts pressure on prices down. Anything between 12 and 20% is typically a balanced market, so you see the prices remain steady. And then 20% above is a seller's market, and naturally that pushes prices up. So take a look at some of the numbers here. So detached homes, sales to active listings ratio right now for Greater Vancouver, 9.9%. That infuriates me because the single family entry level detached market is so different from, say, the West Van luxury market. But for the sakes of these numbers, they are all grouped together. You'll know if you're looking at like that entry level 1.5, 1.6 million and below detached market, it is very difficult to find the home you want. The listing amounts are down. We don't have the supply in which we need. There are people who are out there looking to buy. It's way more competitive. Whereas if you go to West Van and some of these $4 or $5 million homes, they've got tons of properties in these exclusive prestigious neighborhoods, price reductions left, right, and center in order to get them to sell, and they're not selling. But they're both single family detached, so they're grouped under the same record. And that is the issue that I have. We take a look at the apartment side, 13.9% sales to active listings ratio, which should mean that we're in a balanced territory. Prices are remaining steady here. If you are selling a condo in Brentwood or downtown Vancouver right now, you are nowhere near a balanced market territory. You are in heavy buyer's market, looking at 200 plus condos around you, pretty much just like yours, all for sale, all at the same price. It is wild out there. If you can't look at these overall numbers and then make your decision, because you could be getting the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I can't stress enough at the moment how important it is to look at your particular area and your particular product type before making a decision. Again, this is not a knock on the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board and all the other boards who do numbers this way. They can only do so much, and as I mentioned, they put a great emphasis into the figures. But it's very easy to get misled and to have an unrealistic of where the market is. And the problem is these numbers are so easily accessible to the public. And so a lot of the public like to do their own research, will say, and so they'll read these numbers and consider themselves vastly informed. The moment you have somebody who thinks they're vastly informed and you're saying, no, it's actually the opposite of what you're saying, they immediately go to, I've read the real estate figures. How can it be opposite? I don't believe you. And then they end up just shooting themselves in the foot at the end of the day. Those are my gripes. That's my complaint over. I've said it, I'm gonna leave it alone. But should you be looking at the sales to active listings ratio right now? Absolutely not for the large scale of things. You should be looking at it on a more micro scale though, for sure. And that's it. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for listening to my rant.